Hey Wellness Warriors, it's Dr. Zarowski, and this topic I was so excited to cover because it's been something I've been seeing a lot in the news as of lately, and that's the topic of testosterone. There's a lot of men who are trying to maintain muscle mass as they age, and so they're using testosterone. There's a lot of men who are concerned about it because things just aren't working out in their body like it used to. And so whether it's young men to elderly men, testosterone has been an enormous topic. And so in our article today by New Vision Health Center, I will put links and references down in the description below so that you can actually get access to this full article as I go through it and give my take on it. We're going to talk about the testosterone crisis. You're not the man your father was. Ooh, that's a pretty cutting headline considering it cuts deep, right? And the fact is it's true. And it simply has a lot to do with testosterone. So I'm excited to jump into this. But before we do, I'm Dr. Nick Zarowski, and welcome to the channel. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and for all my natural health videos, go to www.drz.tv. We have a lot of different topics we cover. In order to find all of them, just go to my website, and you will find them there. So testosterone is a super interesting topic because it's not only men that are affected by low testosterone, but so are women. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about just some of the symptoms that are associated with low testosterone levels in men. So in men, you're going to see things like decreased sex drive, you'll see hair loss, you'll see fatigue. Fatigue's a big one. You'll also see a loss of muscle mass. Okay, this is something that bothers a lot of men. They're aging and they're trying to maintain muscle mass, or maybe you're going to the gym and it's not, working out for you. So this is why so many people are going and getting testosterone replacement therapy. Okay, now I'm not a fan of testosterone replacement therapy until you have tried these methods. Until you've tried the natural methods, I do not think there's any reason to go and get this done. Unfortunately, most people today, they go to their medical doctor tests their testosterone levels and they go, oh, this is what you need. So they give it to them, but the fact is it can actually screw up the natural hormone rhythms within your body. So it's not a good thing to do if you haven't done the natural things first. I'm going to teach you in this video today how you can dramatically improve your testosterone levels. So we're seeing loss of muscle mass, we're seeing increased amounts of body fat, also seeing decrease in bone mass, mood changes, poor memory, and a risk of anemia. Okay, so this is all if you're a man and you have low testosterone. Now, testosterone is not just for men. This is actually something that is in a woman's body too. Okay, and what are the effects of low testosterone in women? So you're going to have decreased libido. You'll also have poor mood, lethargy, and also muscle weakness. For women, what you want to do is you want to get a good comprehensive hormone panel that will show all the different hormones in your body and tell you if your testosterone's low. I'm not going to recommend that women go and start taking like a testosterone supplement support or anything like that until you have done this, just because if you go and start jacking it up out of control, the other problem is that you could have other symptoms that you don't want to deal with. So for instance, a symptom that you wouldn't want to deal with is increased facial hair growth if you're a female. Okay, so it's important in your body, don't get me wrong. However, you want to make sure that you're doing this appropriately. And for men, you can actually get your hormones tested too and take a closer look to see exactly where you're at. So let's go ahead and dive into this article now that we discussed some of the symptoms you can watch out for, because you're not the man your father was. Okay, so for some men, testosterone is a taboo topic, this says, and it really is. Some men are kind of embarrassed. Their doctor, they go to their doctor and they kind of just little side mention of, things aren't working out in the bedroom for me. Typically it's the first thing for a guy that comes up, and then what happens after that, the doctor goes, oh, well, it's probably your testosterone. So then what do? They give you testosterone. But the doctors do this without even actually determining what the key factor is in your decreased amount of testosterone, okay? Because you can do a lot of things to increase it naturally. Like I said, no matter what you do, when you go and start getting into the realm of hormone replacement therapy and medications and all this, they all have side effects, okay? So you always want to use the natural route first. So, some people consider this a private issue, but whatever. Look, I'm the type of person that'll talk about anything. Like, honestly, this isn't a private issue. This is a real issue. It affects your life, okay? You decrease muscle mass, poor memory. You saw the negative ways this could mess with you. Prescriptions for testosterone medication have risen over the past decade. So it's estimated that prescriptions for testosterone related medications have increased over 3 times, okay? So it's over tripled in the last decade. Something also that's interesting is that the search volume for this on Google has went up over 600% over the past couple years as well, because a lot of men are looking into this because they keep seeing how their testosterone levels are not where they should be. So testosterone levels look to be declining around 1% each year, okay? So the average man today is getting less and less testosterone compared to like your father's generation. So depending on your age, this could actually be a staggering number. And so why do men have these really low levels of testosterone? Why are they plummeting? Well, these are things that we need to answer. So first of all is the obesity problem, okay? So the obesity epidemic, metabolic diseases, insulin resistance, blood sugar out of control, metabolic hormones all over the place. You have an issue with your metabolism. Let me tell you, it's going to plummet your testosterone levels. So this is something that we really have to get under control. You have to get your weight under control, and you have to make sure that you're eating appropriately, okay? A lot of people have obesity issues today. So once again, if you want to read every detail of this, you can go ahead and jump on to the link in the description below. So changes in physical lifestyle. So this is really looking at the fact that a lot of men and women, and especially men here, instead of going and swinging a hammer and, you know, hunting for your food and foraging and doing all the things that men used to do, or maybe doing hard labor. Now, there are some people who are still doing hard physical labor, but many men are actually sitting behind a desk at a computer, okay? And I'm not insulting anybody who's doing this. I mean, you have to do what you have to do. It's your job, and that's how you support yourself and your family. There's nothing wrong with that. But the fact is that these physical changes in lifestyle are causing you to have decreased testosterone. What do? Well, you simply counteract that. Okay. How could you counteract this? Well, for one, just exercising, all right? So obviously, if you're overweight, you got to get your weight down, you need to exercise, right? But the other thing is just exercising for the other purposes in life beyond weight, right? I tell people all the time, it's like, if you're not exercising, then you have an exercise deficiency. Your genetic code, your genetics require exercise. If you aren't doing it, it's a deficiency within your body. So you have to exercise. And so exercise isn't just about weight loss, it's about improving your cardiovascular health. It's about improving your testosterone levels. And so you got to get out and exercise. And the other thing that you can do is just, let's say you're at your job. I mean, you know, you got a 5-minute break to go stretch. I mean, do a few push-ups, you know, whip out a couple jumping jacks. I mean, do some jump rope. I mean, do something. A lot of workplaces anymore have areas where you could go and do some physical activity. So anyway, this is definitely something that you could do. Now, the next thing here is poor diet. Okay, we talked about this already, but we talked about it from the perspective of like a diet that is driving insulin resistance. The other thing that you have to really watch out for is that you could be eating a diet that is just low nutritional quality in the way of like, you know, you're eating fruits and vegetables from depleted soil, you're eating lots of grains that are like unbleached or bleached white flour. I mean, you're just eating a lot of low quality foods, okay? The other thing to take into consideration is all the chemicals in food today. I mean, you go and you're trying to do the right thing, you get fruits and vegetables and things are covered with pesticides and herbicides and every other darn thing that you could imagine. So, I mean, it's like you really have to be aware of this too. So make sure that you're choosing better food. That is going to be another step in increasing your testosterone. So here's the thing is we've already talked, you got to lose weight, you got to exercise, and you got to eat right. Okay, those are 3 things that will dramatically improve your testosterone levels without going and getting TRT, okay? Like if you aren't doing these things, it's crazy to go get testosterone replacement therapy. Now, the good and the fat. So you probably don't know that testosterone and many other hormones get made up from different fat components. For years, dietary medical professionals preach that eating fat is bad for us, okay? So to sum it up, it's basically like, hey, look, you actually need to increase your fat intake, okay? Eating things like avocados, eggs, things that are actually necessary for producing hormones in your body, versus if you're doing the opposite, where you're cutting all the fats out of your body, then you don't have the necessary components to make hormones properly. So that's another big factor. Not getting quality sleep. This is a huge factor. I mean, you can literally have somebody who can get poor quality sleep a couple days in a row prior to getting their testosterone checked, and their results are just totally plummeted. Okay, and so around 30% of the population complains about problems either falling asleep or staying asleep. Okay, I see this every single day. I help people with sleep all the time, and sleep's a tricky one. Okay, because it very much is. It's one of those things where it's like, which came first, the poor sleep or the poor testosterone? Sometimes it's hard to tell because, when you're getting these issues, like sleep can be very hormonally based. So if it's bad hormone and lots of imbalances, then poor sleep is associated with that, and vice versa. Okay. So when we talk about sleep, what we have to really make sure that we're doing is working to improve our sleep. Once again, if you want to dive into this topic a little deeper, you can go ahead and read this. Too much stress is the next topic. Stress inhibits the production of testosterone. Too much of it raises cortisol levels, and it can be taxing on the male reproductive system. Okay, so I'm a big fan of like people taking 10 minutes a day. At the very least, 10 minutes is not a lot. So taking 10 minutes a day and doing some mindful meditation at the same time you're doing mindful meditation, do box breathing. Okay, and if you're not familiar with that, box breathing is basically you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds. Repeat that for the full 10 minutes that you're doing mindful meditation. If you're not familiar with either one of those methods, you can easily go and watch a quick YouTube video on it, and it's not complicated stuff. But what it really does is it helps ground your brain and bring you back to reality. Okay, most people's brains are like a ping pong ball. They're all over the place, and it's simply because there's too many factors in our environment that are sending us in a different direction. They're like all over the place. I mean, there's the social media, there's the raising your family, there's the work stress, a lot going on. What you have to do is make sure that you're bringing things back in and focusing on reducing stress in your body. Low vitamin D levels. I mean, honestly, this is such a no-brainer. I can't believe that, it's funny to me because like in the medical community, like that's all they talk about is like, oh, low vitamin D. Like this is something that's like such a no-brainer. I mean, it's very important, don't get me wrong, but it's such a no-brainer to make sure that you're getting your vitamin D levels checked, that it's like it shouldn't. It's like we need to talk about it because a lot of people have plummeted vitamin D, but in the same hand, it's like, my gosh, take care of this, people. Like, take care of this. This is something that's so important. But it's one of those things that we also have to look beyond that, okay, and make sure that we're doing all these other things appropriately too. But vitamin D is important, and the best way to get vitamin D is obviously from the sun. But the fact is still many people can't get enough sunlight. It's estimated you need around like 30 minutes a day touching your skin. It's best if you're are getting a lot of it on your skin, your legs, your arms, that kind of thing, as far as the sun goes. But when it comes to vitamin D, you're probably going to have to still supplement with it. I mean, I do the best I can to get sunlight, but there's just days I'm working. I mean, I'm in the office all day. I just can't, So low vitamin Ds, and now natural testosterone methods. Okay, when low testosterone is an issue, many doctors put their patients on a type of testosterone therapy. It may sound like an ideal situation, but it comes with some misconceptions. Some men think it will improve their energy and vitality, but the truth is there's little evidence to support that. There are also a host of risks associated with testosterone therapy, which I've mentioned multiple times. Many people get worsening sleep apnea, which can be dangerous. It also can cause non-cancerous prostate growth and limit sperm production. In severe cases, testosterone therapy can increase instances of blood clots. Since we know that true health only comes naturally, what we use is clinically we use a product called Testosterone Ignite. Okay, and this Testosterone Ignite, it works well. I've had multiple people who have used it and found that it works phenomenal. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. You go and you're trying, you want to increase your testosterone. You go and you do all these methods we talked about, and then you combine it with like a natural supplement that just promotes healthy testosterone levels. Like, bam, you have a solution. You figured out the answer. That's it. Okay, and let's say that you did all these things and your testosterone wasn't where it needed to be, which it will be technically, but play along with me here. If you did all these things and it still wasn't there, then maybe you consider doing some TRT. But the fact is, if you're willing to put in the effort and do this stuff, your testosterone is going to be just fine. So anyway, the natural testosterone support that we use, I can put a link to that in the description below too, but it is also linked in this article. It's a shilajit, okay, and essentially it's just a natural mineral that is coming from like volcanoes basically, and it works really well. So anyhow, it's important to make sure that your testosterone levels are not plummeted, because you're going to feel like garbage. You will. The fatigue and the memory loss and increased body fat and the muscle loss, all the things that you do not want to see happen if you're a man, you certainly want to make sure that you're implementing this stuff right here. And if you're a woman, you also want to make sure that you are, just making sure your hormones are in check. I would say, especially for women, after you hit like 50 years old, like you want to actually start getting comprehensive hormone panels. We do these in my clinic all the time. You can actually do them through us if you want to. Just give us a call. But this is something that starts to be really important, because what happens is, for women, you're going to see that like your estrogens go out of control and progesterone starts to plummet, and all these things start to happen that can really affect your mood and your sleep and every aspect of your life. And also testosterone tends to plummet too in females. So what you want to do is make sure that your hormones are good, because you feel this direct implication of your hormones being off in the way that it affects symptoms in daily life, in daily quality of life. So all of a sudden you're not sleeping well, your mood's poor, you don't have any energy, your mind isn't right. All these things are a little bit of a disaster for you. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. So make sure that you take steps in order to improve your testosterone. And if you like this video, I think you'll really like this video over here next.